Be flexible enough to give them an extra day if they need it, or if they need a little more work. But he has that worked out, and our guys will be ready.
So a year ago, it's interesting, Matt Shoemaker was hoping to make the bullpen, make the roster. Now he's a guy that they expect to do big things this year. He prepares very differently this spring, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Right now he says, hey, people know a little bit more about me, but I have to continue to be me and establish who I am, too, even more. Now, he came into camp lighter, 30-pound slider, won 16 games. Darren, this is even after getting sent down last year in the minor leagues and barely making the team out of spring training as a long reliever. But he has the same attitude he carried throughout his minor league career when he was called a career minor leaguer. Not anymore. Second in voting in the American League for the Rookie of the Year behind Jose Abreu. And right now, he is stuck at number 3 at this point for the Angels in that solid rotation.
Fun to see the Royals today. Speed and defense and expectations.
They can run, and they brought their A game against the Angels, and they continue to do that all throughout baseball.
Yeah, we're excited to have all of you today. It's the Royals and the Angels. The action next.
El Pollo Loco's
It's all about baseball here this Sunday afternoon. Beautiful here in Tempe Diablo Stadium. So glad you could join us, Jose Mota and Darren Southern. Sitting in for Terry Smith. Darren Chan producing here in our simulcast as the American League champions. Kansas City Royals make the visit here to Tempe Diablo Stadium. And for Nate Yost and his Royals, always a speedster type of team. They beat the Angels, swept them out of the playoffs last October, and most Angels have said we have not forgotten about that feeling. And the lineup for the Royals, Gerard Dyson's leading off. He's in left field. Christian Colon, Southern California, Orange County kid. Colon is at second base batting second. Lorenzo Cain in that magic glove in center field is batting third. Eric Hosmer himself can really pick it at first base batting fourth. Former Angel Kendris Morales. Bambi's back. He is batting fifth as a DH. On a 2-year deal with the Royals. Alex Rios, also picked up as a free agent, is batting sixth in right field. Salvador Perez, the all-star catcher, Gold Glover, is behind the plate batting seventh. Chesler Cuthbert is the third baseman batting eighth. And Raul Mondesi Jr. is a shortstop. This kid has a lot of ability. He can really run and should be fun to watch. As the Angels take the field, Mike Scioscia's starting lineup is brought to you by McDonald's. It is the perfect meeting of beef and cheese. McDonald's new triple cheeseburger, loaded with 3 100% pure beef patties and real American cheese. It's everything you love and more of it. Now available for just $2.49. Cole Calhoun leads off for the Angels in right field. Batting second, the American League most valuable player, Mike Trout, in center. Batting third is Albert Pujols, so solid glove at first base. Batting fourth is David Freese, the Angels' third baseman. Batting fifth is Eric Ibar at shortstop, the All-Star. C.J. Cron has looked very good here this spring. Cron is the Angels' designated hitter, batting sixth. Colin Cowgill making a push, of course. Cowgill in left field. We know what he brings with his game. Drew Butera has thrown the ball exceptionally well here in camp. The catcher is batting eighth. And batting ninth is Johnny Giovatella, who's looked very solid here in that race for the second base job. The former Royal Giovatella against his former team is the second best. Batting ninth on the mound for the Angels is the shoe and the beard. And Matt Shoemaker, as I introduce Darren Sutton.
Yeah, Matt Shoemaker, and thank you, Jose. It's a pleasure to be here. And for all of you, Matt Shoemaker last year came from literally out of nowhere. 139 minor league games in this Angels organization, and stops here in rookie ball and in Iowa and in Rancho Cucamonga and Salt Lake City and Venezuela. And he worked his way to 16 wins. As you can remember, a season ago, he was a huge part of the push to a championship. He's 28 years old, not overpowering, but don't undersell his fastball. He certainly believes in it. He will throw a spiked breaking ball, pull that finger up. You'll see a knuckle on his finger as well. And he'll use his defense as the defense is set behind him. And they are moving around a little bit out here. All of our defenders coming together. The outfielders, everyone's kind of heading off the field.
Looks like the Bees are here.
So the Bees, yeah, you're exactly right. As we look down, and there's a movement of Bees down in the left field area, down in front of the Royals dugout. There are Bees moving down onto the field, and the Angels, you just saw a sea of red moving across.
I was saying, wow, what a nice shift here on Gerard Dyson. That's different.
Well, if it were a shift, it would be a shift with not a single defender at all on the left side and no pitcher. So it would be a very challenging shift. So the umpires, Alfonso Marquez, the home plate umpire, and his crew, Teddy Barrett, Jim Reynolds, and Jim Wolf, a veteran crew, are waving everyone off the field while the Bees make their way around the field.
Well, the Angels are quite familiar with this happening. It's happened a few times in regular season games over at the Big A. They love that little camera, the robo-cam behind home plate. There's a time in which the grounds crew had to bring Honey and put Honey in a box to finally attract him right there around right center field. But boy, there's a lot of pointing. Everybody knows where they're at, and like, don't go to that spot.
Mike Scioscia's come out and officially discussing it. Shoemaker alongside the umpiring crew. It's interesting with Mike and his leadership ability, seeing him lead a decision about Bees.
There we go. What is Mike Scioscia not involved with? Well, it's a matter of time. They eventually will find their way out.
A group of the umpires have headed over to the Alfonso Marquez on the third base side, shaking hands with Ned Yost. The Angels, the outfielders, gathered together in right field, and part of the defense as well. The majority of the Angels within the dugout, too, under cover. But there is an empty diamond out in front of us, sans 4 or 5 men in red. Fans are comfortable. The berm just about full in left field. Every seat full. There is not a space at all to find a seat here at Tempe Diablo Stadium. They're plenty comfortable. No one really being chased out of their spots in their seats.
They're leaving the fans alone right now. Players taking a more cautionary measure here.
You see a little movement in right field now. Guys, either they're mocking diving from Bees or they're actually diving. There we go. And we just got a shot of it. And the Bees are gathered. It looks like. What do you think, Jose? Where are they gathered?
Well, we see them now also around the right field area.
Yeah, in the right field area.
In fact, we see a lot of fans on the right side now moving up. But they're sprinting around, man.
See some folks coming out of the Angels dugout now. They've headed to the Angels dugout.
Taking cover. Look at this.
Angels owner, we see Arte Moreno down below. He is taking cover, heading under. Many are heading. There's a lot of smiles in the Angels dugout, though, as they wait to see if the Bees have other places they'd rather, pardon the pun, be right now.
So as we talk baseball, well, now you got to worry about Matt Shoemaker and taking additional pitches and how long this is going to last. And
what does he do, Jose? Is there a point where he maybe finds a safe B-less place and play some just play a little catch?
Go in that tunnel somewhere. Go behind the cage. Go beyond the fence and into the cage if needed. But interesting that as we talk about Matt Shoemaker and how he probably doesn't make the team out of spring training last year, had Joe Blanton not pitched his way out of the team. Well, Joe Blanton, after saying he was retiring, was attempting a comeback with the Kansas City Royals of all teams. How about that?
Joe Blanton, the guy, as you said, opened the door for Shoemaker. For me, not watching him every 5 days like you did last year, I think the perception from afar was that he was a guy that was a bit of a soft tosser, if you will, and I think that's kind of a misperception, isn't it? He really believes in his fastball, and you know what? Doesn't matter how hard you throw, you're still a fastball pitcher if you use it more than half the time, and he has a good one.
He does, and I think for years it was underestimated as to how good it was and how much life it had and how much movement it had. And you talk about missing bats. Matt Shoemaker, in terms of swings and miss percentages, is right behind a guy like Garrett Richards.
You notice quite a gathering of bees down below.
I'll tell you, they love anything around that netting, and they have found the microphone.
They have found a spot.
Dylan Chance?
They have found a spot down here with the Angels microphone, the crowd mic, if you will, the bat crack microphone, I believe, where you can hear the crack of the bat, the pitcher. And you can hear the bees. For many of you with that fear driving around right now, you're not comfortable. If your phobia is bees, that sound does not make you comfortable. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to step aside. We will see what they choose to do with the bees. We have not yet started this baseball game. The Angels and the Royals, Edinson Volquez against Matt Shoemaker. Jose and I certainly glad to have you with us. We'll be back in just a moment. We are delayed because of bees. They have fallen in love with the electronics on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. We continue a brief delay here. We will see how long this delay carries on. The electronics again on the first base side, the bat crack microphone surrounded by a swarm of bees, and they have not had any inclination to leave the area right there just up above where the Angels coaches sit. Angels manager Mike Scioscia, some of the front office for the Angels sit in the seats right in that area, including owner Arte Moreno. And they have gathered there, but Matt Shoemaker has headed back out to the mound, and he is playing catch. Yes. He is throwing his warm-up tosses, so we will see if, in fact, maybe they keep the fans safe, keep them out of their seats, Jose, keep the coaching staff where they kind of hang in the dugout, and I think we're going to play baseball here.
Yeah, players are saying we're ready to go here. They're off the field. It's time to get this thing going.
So Shoemaker completing his warm-up tosses. Catcher Drew Butera, his battery mate, held up his hands to his throwing partner down there, and in this case Johnny Giavotella basically let him know, coming down, I'm throwing this one down, I'm ready to go. Now there are no umpires yet in place, though.
They'll be on their way out. There they come. So this will be more of a regular season type of look for the coaching staff, and not a spring training, as they all have to gather around the dugout, except for Alfredo Griffin, who saying, "Ah, what bees, man? I don't care. I'm from San Pedro, man." Alfredo's hanging out over there.
You're exactly right, Alfredo Griffin, as Mike Scioscia makes his way out for one more conversation. Just to make sure that everyone is safe in the area, I would imagine, talking with the entire umpiring crew. And I believe we're about ready to play. Gerard Dyson has that bat in his hands. He has strolled toward the batter's box.
Well, there's enough Salt Lake City bees around, so
nice.
The real bees make their way in.
Nice. So Shoemaker is ready to go. We'll introduce you again to these Kansas City Royals offensively. Gerard Dyson will lead things off. A year in which he stole 36 bases last year. Left-handed batter. Always a threat to bunt. That means David Freese at third will stroll onto the grass where he limbers up right now. Everyone ready to go. The outfield is shallow in red. Matt Shoemaker ready to throw his first pitch. The windup and the pitch were underway as the strike sails over the outside corner. No balls and one strike to count on Dyson. Angels Royals just started. Jose Mota and I glad to have you with us. The wind and the 0-1 pitch fastball up and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to count.
Like this look by the Angels infield, just cutting the distance down, all due to one thing, as you mentioned, the speed of Gerard Dyson.
Next pitch hit hard toward that infield. Diving play. Ibar up with it. Long throw. Couldn't get him with the speed. A clean scoop over there. And a stretch by Albert Pujols. But a one-hopper out to short. Eric Ibar left his feet. When that occurred, you knew no shot.
Exactly. I mean, and he was playing shallow. You can see it was more like a double play depth. And with all that, anything hit to your right or left with Dyson running, it has to be something that you know he might get a bad jump out of the box. Not in this case.
It was a 10-minute delay officially. It's 79 degrees at first pitch here in Tempe, Arizona. Dyson, 36 stolen bases. 84% of the time he was successful last year. Thrown out 7 times. Right-handed batter, Christian Colon. Infield stays in a few steps as the first pitch sails outside. 1-0 the count. But they really respect that speed. Because, again, you have a right-handed hitter. He's not as quick out of the batter's box, but the middle of the infield, and Giavotella and Ibar are in 2, maybe 3 steps. Sunshine all around as Shoemaker works out of the stretch. Bounced out toward third on a hop. Freeze. Giavotella on to first. Double play. It was a Sunday hop on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon. A nice turn by Giavotella. Pujols a little tippy-toe on top of the bag to keep it a twin killing.
Definitely very impressed so far with Johnny Giavotella and his abilities to turn a double play, and all about the quickness. And seems like that glove is not in that making contact with the baseball for very long. Very strong arm and a nice feed by his third baseman.
Lorenzo Cain, as we hear the crowd react with a boo down below. I'm quite sure what that's about.
Angels fans remember what he did to the Angels in the playoffs.
Okay.
He was everywhere robbing the Angels.
Well, he did it to everyone. He had 20 hits last year as Lorenzo Cain takes ball 1. 1-0 the count. He hit .333 in the entire postseason. The right-handed batter takes a fastball high.
Terrific athlete.
2-0 the count.
Very glad that players like this, the baseball world and fans nationally, got to know who he is.
Cain jammed. It's right in on his hands, and it rolls past Eric Ibar, the shortstop, who was playing him to pull just to the left of the second base bag for a base hit.
Yeah, it seems like Shoemaker did what he wanted, which is to get inside on Lorenzo Cain, whose swing at times can get a little long and loopy.
Meantime, out in right center field, and I'm not sure if it's been noticed, and I believe it has, the walls are opened up. And it'd be an interesting ground rule decision. Some of the advertisements are split in half. The gates are opened out there in right center field.
We got somebody hustling down and take care of it.
So we will get those closed. There was actually play just a moment ago. That base hit occurred with those gates open in right center field.
They're trying to provide a little more exit opportunities for the Bees, I guess.
Here's left-handed batter Eric Hosmer. He swings at the first pitch, pulls it up the first base line. It is a foul ball. Foul ball is the call. Alfonso Marquez made the call of foul. First base umpire. Who do we have out there at first? Is that Teddy Barrett?
Ted Barrett, yeah.
Teddy Barrett called fair.
Albert Pujols trying to do everything he could with his body. And that, on the replay that we have, looks like a fair ball.
But until it crosses that first base bag, which it did not do, it's the home plate umpire's call. So Alfonso Marquez made his call. The runner at first, Lorenzo Cain. Scoreless contest, top of the first inning. 2 outs, Royals and Angels. Fastball misses low. 1 ball and 1 strike the count on Hosmer. 9 home runs last year, 58 batted in.
Another fine young player that was brilliant in the postseason. Hurt the Angels with a very long home run off Kevin Jepson.
He drove the ball a bit more in the postseason than he did in the regular season. Great timing with regard to that power. Out front of that split-fingered fastball. He drives it into right center field. Toward the wall it goes. There is more power. It is gone. He had him fooled. He was out front, but his hand stayed back enough. 2-0 is the score. The Royals on top. Eric Hosmer, his second spring training home run.
Eric Hosmer coming into his own, and the swing told you everything, as you were talking about. Might have been fooled a little bit by speed, but not by the location of the pitch, which is just right around the waist. And anytime it's all that closer to your eyes, of course, he might be fooled, but the hands stay back, and you can drive it.
Old friend Kendrys Morales, switch hitter, batting left-handed, takes a fastball that misses away. 1-0 the count on Kendrys. Split time and scuffled last year, as he is beaten by a fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. He looks at a huge shift defensively. David Freese, the lone defender on the shortstop side. 3 defenders between first and second. He pulls that one past to diving Albert Pujols. Up the first base and right field line, all the way to the wall it goes. Morales picking him up and putting him down. Eases into second as he rounds past the bag. Just to make sure they'll make him get back to the bag. He'll walk back, and he'll do so with the double. Morales off to a good start this spring. 6 of 15.
Yeah, and think of something. Kendrys Morales did not have a spring training last year. He did not get the contract he was looking for. Had to sit out half of a season. He is happy to have a uni in the month of March. And he quickly jumped on a 2-year contract. Smartly. But boy, I'll tell you what, for years, with limited English, he was one of the most popular players in that Angels clubhouse.
6 years an Angel, 31 years old, Cuban native. And Morales, with that double, gives way to another veteran in Alex Rios. Tall, lean, right-handed hitter in the back of the batter's box, and he takes ball 1 outside. 1-0 the count.
Here's a player that, even though he does not have a whole lot of power, should play well in that ballpark at Kauffman Stadium. His gap approach and his ability to cover right field.
Breaking ball dives down and outside. 2-0 the count on Rios. Shoemaker's home run earlier allowed a novelty last year. Only 14 home runs allowed all season last year for the right-hander. He did that in 20 starts, 27 overall appearances. So you had to get him to get the power. Got a check swing, but a called strike nonetheless on that one. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. The Royals lead the Angels 2-0, top of the first inning. The Michigan native with that raven beard rocks as he comes set. Out of the stretch, he fires it. Fastball inner half, beat him with it. It's fouled into the seats. The sea of red. on this gorgeous Tempe day.
The other dimension we see from Rios and why he is a good fit, Darren, for the Kansas City Royals. He can steal a base for you. And the Royals led all of the major leagues last year with 153 stolen bases.
Offense has evolved in Major League Baseball. All of that matters. Pitch in on the hands, rocketed foul, third baseline toward the Royals dugout. Clears a couple of members of our security crew here in Tempe, but everyone's all right. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count. Royals lead it 2-0. It's been a nice, long, in some ways quietly successful career in Toronto for the White Sox. Texas, a couple of times Rios has been an all-star. Wags that bat. So he lifts it over his shoulder. Breaking ball just missed the outside corner. There's that spike curveball you talked about. He pulls the index finger up and it has good tight break.
Trying to get a feel for everything. Nice framing job there by Butera. Just missed it.
But as Jose told you earlier, the big swing and miss pitch is that split-fingered fastball. Full count, runner at second. 2 outs. From the set position, Rios drives a fastball to left, but he got under it. Easy chance for Colin Cowgill, well shy of the track, and he puts it away. Well, we've got bees, we've got long balls on a gorgeous day, nothing boring yet, and we've only played 1/2 inning. The Royals lead the Angels by a score of 2-0 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. It's a great day for autograph seekers and beekeepers here in Tempe, Arizona. Right-hander Edinson Volquez gets ready to go to work for Kansas City. And he got ready just in time. The in-between innings clock was at 3 seconds as he rushes a fastball home for strike 1 to Cole Calhoun. 0-1 the count on Calhoun. 31-year-old right-hander out of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. 31 starts, 13 wins last year. A 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. A changeup misses outside to Cole. 1 ball and 1 strike to count.
The one thing about Volquez is not too many people will connect that he led the Pirates staff in wins, innings pitched, starts, and ERA last year.
Fastball in on the hands. Calhoun bloops it into shallow center field, charging and making the play in left center field. Lorenzo Cain right at his shoe tops.
Just how it all ended with the Angels and the Royals in October. Here we go once again. I know some Angels are going, is anything going to drop ever against the Royals?
And the answer, most of the time, no.
They can cover some ground, and they take some chances, and they're a fun team to watch. There's no doubt.
The man in the batter's box has had a lot to say about taking extra base hits and bloopers away. Reigning MVP Mike Trout digs into that right side. Holds that bat high over the red helmet and takes inside. 1-0 the count.
As I mentioned, in terms of the stolen bases, Mike Trout came in to camp saying, I need to steal more bases. Darren, most people in baseball will say, yes, you do. Some people will say, well, why? Why risk you this much and why that? But Mike Trout is well aware of Mike Scioscia's style. Have to run.
1 ball and 1 strike the count. Right back to work. Volquez on 1-1. Trout on the inner half pulls it foul into the Royals dugout.
Well, what I like mostly the way that Trout interpreted it was, I need to get better at stealing more bases. Not, I need more green lights. I need to find the right matches. I need to get better. So that's coming from the American League MVP. It tells you a lot.
1-2 the count. Royals lead it 2-0. The 1-2 to the right side on a line. It's down for a base hit. Trout with a big aggressive turn at first. In a very similar way, Calhoun was beaten with the pitch down and away. Mike Trout went down and got a fastball, lined it the other way. The first Angels hit of the game brought to you by 714 Tickets. If you want to make a hit on tickets, log on to 714tickets.com. Call today, go tonight.
Outstanding job going the other way by Mike Trout. So many times we've seen this. He will spoil many good pitches.
Albert Pujols digs in. Gotten so used to seeing those knees deeply bent in the batter's box as he looks at a fastball that's wide.
Here's an opportunity for Trout to, number one to me, Darren, go out there and get a good lead. Don't be afraid of establishing your ground and think one way. Either I'm coming back or I'm running. Got to establish that you have confidence in getting good leads and reading moves.
Trout takes that lead. The 1-0's a broken bat. Hard hit ball past to third baseman Cuthbert and into left field for a base hit. Bat shatters headed toward the third baseman. Baseball went toward the third baseman, Chesler Cuthbert as well. Kind of took an ugly hop and got right by him. Pujols with the hit.
There goes the barrel. Hits the ball off the label. Ball hit sharply by Pujols, getting on top of it, up and in. It was a good job getting the top hand through the ball.
Chesler Cuthbert, the third baseman, eaten up there by a couple of flying objects. Everyone's all right. Angels with runners on first and second now. With 1 out, Albert. The year in which he hit .272 last year with a .324 on base. Has a plan this spring of playing consecutive days with a day off, then maybe 3 consecutive days with a day off, but it's a plan that's been all mapped out with he and Mike Scioscia already. As David Freese digs in. Freese in on the hands. It's a line drive into center field for a base hit. Trout hustling on around, touches third. He is sent home. There is no throw. An RBI. David Freese. The Angels strike back as they trail the Royals 2-1.
I want to see this from David Freese. You and I talked about it yesterday. As Don Baylor convinced him last year, you're a much better hitter when you get something good early and attack. Why wait? Why try to see what that out pitch is? If he gives you something you can handle, go out there and just get it done. And David Freese showing a lot of strength this spring, better timing with his hands, and of course, way more smiles.
So now Eric Ibar, the Angels shortstop today. Albert Pujols at second. David Freese at first. 1 away. Royals lead the Angels 2-1 in the bottom of the first inning. From the stretch, Volquez. First pitch swinging, Ibar. Ranging to his left, the second baseman, Colon, and he kicks it away. Albert Pujols will look to head home. Grabbing an extra bag to third is David Freese. Both are safe, and we are tied at 2. Colon heading toward his left. It looked like he had a play out in front of him to get the man at first in Eric Ibar, but he didn't get anyone.
Eric Ibar saw the contact, and one thing Colon was worried about was maybe turning 2, and at this point he has to worry about one guy, which is just try to get the out at first base. got caught in between thinking, and of course that made his feet get all tangled up. And one thing we know is the Angels have done a better job so far this spring following the baseball on the base paths, and Pujols following it well was not going to stop.
Albert's always been a spectacular base runner. Legs haven't always cooperated, as the first pitch is a curveball that misses up to C.J. Cron.
There's one thing with Albert. He will take chances, even though, as you mentioned, he has had to slow down. At times, he takes too many chances, but he's not afraid.
So the Halos, with runners on first and third, have tied it up at 2, 1 away. Bottom of the first inning. Volquez with a breaking ball. It's a high fly ball into left center field. Should get a run in. Kane under it. Makes the play in the gap. Tagging. And heading on home is David Freese. And looky here. The Angels lead it right back by a score of 3-2. C.J. Cron with the solid at bat. We saw it yesterday, Jose. Wise at bats, fitting the situation.
Go after and get something he can handle. And why wait around? It's one thing. Well, being a good situational hitter really bears down to awareness of what the situation calls for, of course, but also understanding what your body needs to do with the pitches that you see.
We move down to the 7th spot in the order with a runner on first. There's Colin Cowgill, right-handed hitter. 4th, 5th outfielder for these Angels. A man who found his way into 106 games last year.
All thanks to, first of all, the injury to Josh Hamilton's left thumb that started things off in the wrong direction for Josh last April. After a solid start through 8 games, Hamilton was hitting over 440.
Volquez takes a look at first, sinks a fastball over the inside corner, gets the call. 0-1 the count.
So let's compare Ibar's lead at first base, Darren, to what we saw from Mike Trout. This is where you see more experienced base runners and guys are not as tentative.
They play Cowgill to pull in the outfield. A lot of room in right center field. Infield, straight up. Take a look at that lead. Volquez does too. It's a breaking ball over the inside corner. No balls and 2 strikes to count.
Ibar a more aggressive lead than what we saw from Trout. And you start counting your steps, keeping your eye on that pitcher, and thinking one way.
On 0-2. Swing and a miss, and down he goes. Right at the shoe tops. Cowgill ends things with a strikeout. We had noise in the top of the first. We had even more noise in the bottom of the first. We played 1 complete. We've had bees delaying things. We'll have the Angels on top of the Royals by a score of 3-2 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. right back to baseball with a reminder. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Angels Baseball. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball. Couple of quick pitches get us started. 1 ball and 1 strike the count on Salvador Perez. Perez, the Gold Glover, the right-handed hitter, chases a fastball up in the zone. And it's a fly ball into center field where Mike Trout makes it look very easy. About 20 steps to his right. In the end, a can of corn as he puts that one away. A quick reminder, by the way, be sure to tune in to the Rich Eisen Show weekday mornings. He has great guests and topics daily. That's the Rich Eisen Show, 9 to noon, right here on the radio side. Angels Radio, AM 830 KLAA. We'll talk more about Salvador Perez here in a bit. A spectacular, big, strong catcher, but he gives way to Chesler Cuthbert. We spoke of him having a tough time at third earlier, a 22-year-old out of Corn Island in Nicaragua. 5 years his journey through the minor leagues. He takes ball 1, right back to work. A pitch outside, 2-0 the count from Matt Shoemaker. 3-2 our score. 1 away, top of the second inning here at Tempe Diablo Stadium. Right back to work, the windup off the end of the bat, a seeking line drive into center field where Mike Trout makes easy work of another one. 2 away in the inning.
That was a pretty good read there by Mike Trout, based mainly on the sound off the bat. Big swing and on the bat. You know you gotta be careful here in Arizona. I mean, the end of the bat contact here might fool you more than, of course, other places. But nice read there by Mike. And you want to see your center fielder there move constantly. Your outfielders always in motion with the pitches coming in. Foul balls. Hitters will tell you a lot about speed according to what the bat is doing and where the balls are going and being fouled off.
No balls and 1 strike the count on Raul Mondesi. Last year at A-ball hit .211. But he's young, and he takes a good breaking ball for strike 2. 0-2 the count. One of the top prospects for the Royals. If the name is familiar to Southern California baseball fans, we understand why. Dad, Raul Mondesi, with the same name. Still just 19 years old, and on 0-2 goes out to one knee and fouls it off right around home plate.
Mondesi Jr. is a valued asset all for baseball all the way around as a prospect. He was a young player exposed to a challenge of a tough league and show flashes of brilliance, but also still learning.
Rolls the 0-2 pitch as a high bouncer to the camera well on the far end of the Angels dugout, first base side. Here at Tempe Diablo Stadium, the Angels, it's all red over there in the first base dugout. The Kansas City Royals enjoy the third base dugout. Fans enjoy souvenirs on both sides. There's no doubt about that. Young and old, they certainly do. And on 0-2, a chase of a fastball up and out of the zone. And after a couple of bumps in the road for Matt Shoemaker, he sits down the Kansas City Royals 1-2-3. We move to the bottom of the second. The Angels 3, the Royals 2 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels lead it by a score of 3-2 as they go to work here in the bottom half of inning number 2. Edison Volquez does the same. Quick home and a fastball misses high and away. 1-0 the count to the veteran catcher, 31-year-old Drew Butera. Butera getting the call today. Chris Iannetta getting the day off. He's a right-handed batter. And on 1-0, drives the ball deep left field. Dyson going back to the warning track, to the wall, up against the wall, and he makes the grab. Little hop, skip, and a jump up against that left field wall. Extra bases certainly didn't have home run distance, and another fine play. As you said, the Royals outfielders do it again.
They know so much about Angels hitters, it seems like anyways, but he made it look way too easy. Little snow cone. Ball comes out of the glove, stays right with it. And I'll tell you what, I mean, it's a great exhibition as to why you have good athletes back there. Remember, the Gold Glover left fielder's not even here today, and Alex Gordon, who is a superb left fielder, and to me the best in baseball. A converted third baseman, Alex Gordon.
Johnny Giavotella, former member of these Kansas City Royals, takes a fastball high and inside. 1-0 the count on Johnny.
Very impressed with what he's done so far with the bat and with the glove. Darren, let's make that race even more interesting.
Pitches high and inside. Grant Green. Taylor Featherston.
And being out of options, it's an asset. You just delay the decision. That's all you do.
2-0 the count on Giavotella.
Or you can make it very easy too.
The 2-0 pitch, bouncing ball out towards short. On 2 hops, it's played by Raul Mondesi. Shoots it on across the diamond. For the second out of the inning, Johnny Giavotella is retired. Josh Rutledge also in that conversation. Those are the 4.
Now, so you're talking about a plus arm. What you saw from the shortstop there, Mondesi, who came to know him as Adalberto originally. Raul Adalberto Mondesi got a hefty signing bonus to join the Royals.
He mans things out at short while Cole Calhoun gets ready to hit. The first pitch to Calhoun, a breaking ball that missed off outside. 1-0 the count.
Very interesting positioning here. We have what they call the split middle with Calhoun. Shortstop pretty much playing almost like a right-handed batter.
1-0, a check swing, bouncing ball out to first. On 2 hops, Eric Hosmer. It's an easy chance. Quick trot to the bag. 1, 2, 3 go the Angels. We have put 2 in the books. The Angels lead the Royals by a score of 3-2 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. 20-game flex plan is a great way to see Angels baseball. Select the 20 games you want to see from a schedule which includes opening night, premium matchups, and popular promotional giveaways. Buy your flex plan today at angels.com/ticket plans or by calling 888-796-HALO, 888-796-HALO. Shoemaker with a breaking ball low to Dyson to start things. Next pitch comes home. Fastball high and inside, popped up. Foul territory, third base line, where it is put away by David Freese.
I'm seeing some balls popping out of gloves here. David Freese also a very interesting grab there at the end.
Taking a quick peek at our out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by the 2015 Jeep Cherokee. Advanced technology, safety, and capability for every road. Visit Jeep.com for more information. We have an interesting one to pass along as we pass along to Christian Colon. The first pitch misses outside. 1-0 the count to Colon. Rolled into a 5-4-3 double play back in the first inning. 3-2, the Angels lead it. Next pitch out front. Nubbed that one off the end of the bat, a foul ball. 1-1. Just a quick note on our scoreboard. Irvin Santana, former Angel, pitched very effectively for his newest team, the Twins, today. 2 shutout innings, and his Twins beat the Orioles in Grapefruit League play 2-1. Dodge out-of-town scoreboard.
Irvin Santana signed what to date is the richest contract for a free agent for Minnesota. How about that?
He's trying to clock in and do good work as that one is fouled off. 1-2 the count.
He and Phil Hughes could be a headache for many teams this season. Phil Hughes really came into his own last year. Spectacular year. A former Yankee. Ended up getting an extension after only 1 year served of his contract.
Matt Shoemaker rocks and fires. Bouncing ball high, chopper in between hop. Ibar charges. Shoots it on across. Great glove work. He had to make a decision early on, didn't he?
He had to, and for Eric Ibar, I think just the awareness of who they're playing, even though he was pretty much in the regular position, he knew if that ball bounces one more time, he doesn't attack. That's an automatic infield hit for Colon. Outstanding job by Eric Ibar, who led all the American League shortstops in fielding percentage last year, which, of course, did not translate into a Gold Glove.
A top 5 defender in Major League Baseball if you put all of the elements to research it together. Certainly top 5. Fastball right at the belt. Strike 1 to Lorenzo Cain.
Of course. Not to say that every leader of fielding percentage in their position is automatically going to win a Gold Glove.
Fastball inside and it hits Lorenzo Cain around the outside of the knee, maybe the quad area, so he will trot to first. He looks like he's all right. Shoemaker spun off with that lead arm, ran it in, and it got Cain, looked like right in the quad.
Trying to get him off the plate. Why not? Same thing he tried to do, or actually did last time out. Just could not get it in enough when Cain hit the ball up the middle.
Pitchers working on their mechanics, especially early on. Watch Shoemaker throw his bullpen the other day.
And Shoemaker came into this inning with 31 pitches, and so far what Mike Scioscia is looking for is to get him around 45. One pitch he'd like to have back, and even though it is spring training, he knows location is a plus and a must for him. And it was met against this big first baseman out of Florida.
He homered back in the first inning. That's the pitcher speaking of. Shoemaker fires a fastball outside, 1-0.
Eric Heisman, as he kind of put it during the last offseason or last postseason, said, I got out of my own way. Which is a statement of a player who's matured into understanding what the game demands of him and who he is as a player. He's able to relax and play his game.
Broke his bat, hit a ground ball out to third where David Freese was playing him to pull. Over to Albert Pujols in time for the out. 5-3 on the ground out to the bottom half of the third inning we go. Spring training baseball. The Angels lead the Royals by a score of 3-2 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Shoemaker has done very good work, and his Angels lead it by a score of 3-2. A pitching change sponsored by Irvine Auto Center's March Markdown Madness. It's big, tall right-hander Christian Binford, the right-hander out of Maryland, Hagerstown, Maryland. Goes to work against Mike Trout, where he winds and deals a fastball outside. 1-0 the count. By the way, over 5,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. Shop online at IrvineAutoCenter.com or visit them where the 5 meets the 405 at Lake Forest Drive in Irvine. Trout 1 for 1 with a single and a run. On the 1-0, he pops it foul into the seats. This is to the right side.
This mission accomplished right there by Mike Trout. Goes the other way on his single to right in that first inning and stays right behind that baseball. Now facing a new pitcher. That's a good approach. Better to be a little bit late right now.
Curveball inside corner. Called strike by Alfonso Marquez. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. Angels lead the Royals 3-2. Bottom of the 3rd inning. And not only did Trout hit it the other way, he hit it hard the other way. He steps only 1 foot out of the box to take just a moment, not both feet out of the box.
And he has said it's going to be an adjustment for me.
The 1-2.
Timer.
Breaking ball missed outside. So educate me a little bit. Is he a pretty deliberate guy?
He's one guy that will take his time and come out of the box, even when he just takes a pitch like that one. He said, yeah, I'm going to have to rush a little bit.
The 2-2 pitch to Trout. Froze him with a breaking ball. A very good pitch, but it's called a ball. 3-2 the count. Sailed just a little bit low and a good take. On 3-2. Inside with a fastball, fouled it back to the screen.
Well, you say the good take because there's times where a hitter will tell you exactly how he's seeing the ball and the way he takes a pitch. And I was talking about him staying behind the ball and why that tells you a lot about how well he's seeing the ball out of the hand right now. Even with limited at-bats, he came into this game with only 3 official at-bats.
3-2 swung on and missed. That was another breaking ball. Down goes Trout. At this time, let's pause for station identification. This is the Angels Baseball Radio Network, also Fox Sports West. Darren Sutton, Jose Mota, 3-2 the score. The Angels on top of the Royals. Albert Pujols takes a fastball low. 1-0 the count to Albert. He singled a broken bat single to the third base side back in the first inning.
Tip your hat to Christian Binford on how he fooled Mike Trout. And what he did there is he threw him a harder breakable earlier that he took, and then took something off of it, and here's got Mike scratching his head. What was that?
The 1-1 to Albert Pujols is a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. With his Angels on top of the Royals 3-2. We'll see Houston Street a little bit later on in this contest as well. We've caught him warming in the bullpen. 1-2 to Pujols, high and inside. He backs out of there. 2-2 the count.
Albert smoked the ball down the left side earlier on a broken bat. I'm going to say the broken bat was more due to bad wood than anything else.
2-2 to Albert, just outside. Looked like a good slider. 3-2 the count with 1 away.
If he throws it again, and I would he throw it the same way he did to Trout, take something off of it? We shall see.
On 3-2. He threw him a fastball. Albert was ready. Line drive, base hit, left field. So Pujols 2 for 2. This game's had just about everything. Effective Pujols, effective Trout. Bees delaying things. It's been fun.
He goes fastball and tries to jam him inside, but not in enough. You talk about the Bees. That's how this game started. 10-minute delay. Due to one reason.
And they haven't left, by the way. They have settled. They haven't left.
Best thing is the coaching staff is like, you know what? You're part of the family now. So you see Dino Evil down there, Mike Butcher, Mike Scioscia. Join the family.
Pitch misses inside to David Freese. 1-0 the count. Three to 2, the Angels lead the Royals. Christian Binford fires at a curveball, and it's a fly ball to right. Up onto the roof of the Angels clubhouse, a foul ball. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count on Freese. Drove in a run back in the first inning.
Freese, like Pujols, throughout their careers, many games in interleague against these Kansas City Royals.
David with a slightly closed stance, not dramatic. But you can definitely see that 6 on the back of his jersey from center field. Bouncing ball out to second, bobbled a couple of times by Colon. He recovers, flips to second, but that's all they will get. Mondesi was covering. Freese, because of the bobbles, reaches on a fielder's choice. Albert Pujols to second out of the inning.
It's twice now for Colon where he has not been able to secure the baseball. So my fellow Cal State forwards and Titan, got to get back to basics. As his Titans people will say, start with the baseball. Right?
His head is getting ahead of him too, isn't it? He's thinking about rushing a lot.
Twice there's been a man at first base where he's thinking about, as you mentioned, rushing to get the lead out.
So Binford now looks in and he'll face Ibar.
It looks so easy from up here. The game, huh? Toughest job in baseball is between the white lines. Toughest job.
With his team up 3-2, Eric Ibar takes strike 1, 0-1 the count. Ibar reached on an error. We were just talking about Colon. Reached on an error by Colon back in the first inning. Both teams have 4 hits. Angels lead it 3-2. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 2 outs. Outfield shallow for Ibar. Slices one into the seats up above the Royals dugout. About 15 rows deep. Moved around a group of satisfied customers. It was a quick mover in there. I-10 buzzing out beyond that right field wall. A gorgeous day in Tempe, Arizona. Packed house of red and a little bit of blue sprinkled in, certainly. A breaking ball misses inside to Ibar on 0-2. 1-2 the count. That I-10 is much busier. Mornings, afternoons, weekdays. And I'm not telling Southern Californians anything. Christian Binford from the stretch. The 1-2 pitch. Ibar fly ball center. At 5 steps back, the dependable Lorenzo Cain. He puts it away for the 3rd out of the inning. A runner stranded by the Angels. We've played 3. The Halos lead at 3-2 on top of the Royals on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. you here at the ballpark. Time once again to go around the grill with Albertsons to make a picture-perfect burger every time. A little indentation into the top of each burger with your thumb. Keeps the burger from puffing up in the middle when they cook. Delivering the ultimate burger every time. Around the grill brought to you by Albertsons. Grills everywhere today. You're in for something fresh. And fresh would describe in this 3-2 game with the Angels on top of the Royals, Houston Street. And that's good news. The veteran Angels right-hander, who worked 61 times last year, goes to work for the first time this spring.
He knows a thing or two about grills and burgers out of Texas.
He goes to work, sinking fastball outside to Kendrys Morales, 1-0 the count. Street curious where that pitch was right away. Questioning the strike zone.
You know what? He's not afraid to tell his catcher, this is what I want you to do. And you can see he's very expressive.
Deliberate windup with a big step back. Goes right back to the same spot where Morales hits it up by one of those grills. 1 ball and 1 strike the count.
That's one thing the Angels catchers, Mike Sosha, Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, learned about Houston Street. He is not afraid to express and just tell everybody what he needs to go out there and get done. And that meant for Butera to set off the plate a little bit more.
He does just that. Street bounces one in there. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. Top of the 4th inning. Angels lead the Royals by a score of 3-2. 31-year-old right-hander Houston Lowell Street.
What a sensational pickup he was for the Angels. Ends up saving 41 games. Catchers say he makes your job easier.
His catcher today's battery mate Drew Butera. Scoots outside, the 2-1 pitch. Line drive center field. Trout hauls that one in. Coming on, stayed very low the entire time, almost giving the deceptive look from up here that he might take a dive at it, but it was chest high.
You could tell Street a little disappointed with a couple of locations that was hard contact on a pitch that he wanted more out over the plate, on more like the foul ball that he saw from Morales. So he missed twice with his fastball. And that's something he was telling me about 2 days ago. Hey, to me, I don't care who's hitting. It's about what I do and where I put that baseball.
Winds and fires to Alex Rios. A spinning breaking ball. 0-1 the count.
The question to him was, I asked him, are you the type of guy that likes to come into a game in the middle so you can see some regular players more during spring training?
0-1 misses outside. 1 ball, 1 strike the count.
He said, Jose, they can bring me in the 9th inning and I might be facing A-ball and AA guys. And if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, the hitters will let me know.
Dramatic, big, long step back as he goes to work. Head on the line. Out to third. David Freese hauls it in for the 2nd out of the inning.
So I can tell you right now, the hitters are letting him know that the ball's missing too much over the plate. 2-line drive.
You're right. 2 hard hit baseballs.
Exactly. And he is the rare breed of closers. I'm going to say closer. The worst strictly from the windup with nobody on.
Salvador Perez, Gold Glove catcher, fly to center field on the first pitch that he saw in his first at bat. He looks at one that's outside. 1-0 the count from Houston Street. By the way, Street, as an Angel last year, 1.71 ERA, 17 saves. Allowed just 1 home run in 28 appearances. Sinks a fastball inside corner to Salvador. 1 ball and 1 strike the count.
It's fun to watch, and he's a good example for many young pitchers that perhaps have been told that they're not big enough or they don't throw hard enough. Look at this guy. 41 saves. Successful career. And he'll top out around 91.
Pulled the string back on that one. A changeup pulled foul third base side.
And Darren, when you go to the backfields and watch his bullpens in spring training, it's all about where he wants the catcher, what he wants the ball action to be, what the slider should be looking like.
Houston on 1-2, skips it in there, no chase. 2-2 the count.
Not about, let me rear back and see if I can get it by anybody, of course, which you really can't do. But very meticulous about his preparation. And he says, hey, I might be out there one day and take 4 off and go throw in the bullpen tomorrow, the next day, to work on some things. You may not see me for another week.
2-2 sidearm delivery, popped into shallow center field. He definitely jammed him. That one was not hit hard. And it's a single in front of Mike Trout for Salvador Perez. And isn't that how it goes in baseball, too? Rockets for outs. and one not hit hard at all, that's a hit.
And the one that's not hit as hard is still too elevated. Anytime it's a little closer to those eyes, if you're strong enough, you will get it by there.
Well, he's strong. He is strong. 3-2, the Angels lead the Royals. Top of the 4th inning, 2 outs. Salvador Perez at first with a bloop single.
Salvador is another guy that they like Hosmer, like Moustakas, like Gordon, like Kane, like Dyson. The world of baseball we got to see more of on stage.
Street now works out of the stretch, skips it in there.
In October. And Salvador Perez for Venezuela does it all having fun. He is a talker. He loves social media. He's on Instagram. He is quite busy with the fans. Very dangerous, they say, with his camera in the clubhouse. Superb player, man. Superstar.
1-0 the count. Crowd getting excited because the Beekeeper is making his way down the aisle on the first base side.
Not that outfit.
And we see him make his way to the crowd cheering. The security tried to stop him initially. We play on the field as the pitch is high. 2-0 the count. So we have a Beekeeper in attendance, folks.
Getting to work.
There are bees on the crowd microphone covering it. The 2-0 pitch from Street. High fly ball. Mike Trout fights the sun. To center field it goes. Trout 2 steps to his left. He puts it away. Salvador Perez with a single. A clean inning without a run on the scoreboard for Houston Street. He'll go back to work. Meantime, the Beekeeper will go to work as well. 3-2 is the score. The Angels lead the Royals. To the bottom of the 4th we go on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Driven by your Southern... We're going to have a brief delay here. 3-2, bottom of the 4th inning, because the Beekeeper has cleared the crowd, the coaches area, the seats, and he is about, with thousands of people looking on, to get rid of the bees that have gathered around the microphone. Whether you're listening on radio, whether you're watching on television, the Beekeeper now, I'll give old-fashioned baseball description, is underneath that microphone, beginning to spray. See if he can release those bees. He is wearing full Beekeeper garb for those of you driving around Southern California listening to this one. And as he sprays the bees at this point, they're not looking to leave. They seem to be pretty comfortable in their spot. So having not enjoyed many Beekeeper escapades in the past, Jose, the Beekeeper trying to get him out of here.
Well, just be ready when they start dropping here very soon in chunks.
He continues to spray the bees. Umpires are gathered up the third baseline. Mike Scioscia and his staff looking from the dugout. And every person in this ballpark that cares to look is looking.
Oh, of course. Very glad they didn't make it up to the booth, because this would have been cleared by now.
Now, the good news in the broadcast booth up here is the windows would have been closed very quickly. A production crew out in the truck, or Darren Chan up here would have been angry. We would have cut off wires closing the windows so quickly. Here they come. The bees are starting to tumble down, and those that are surviving are trying to hang on tight on that microphone and the netting by the Angels dugout on the first base side.
Also goes Darren Chan's microphone. Hope that's insured, DC.
And the bat crack microphone down there that allows you to hear the popping of the catcher's mitt. As we listen into that microphone.
You know what's interesting? How many times around baseball this does happen, as we were talking about earlier, in different cities.
Beekeeper continues to work. Just a couple of Royals have made their way outside of the dugout. All the Royals looking on from the dugout.
Beekeeper doing his thing. Still, I got to give it to the Big A, the Angel Stadium grounds crew. One time, the most inventive way was to go out there and get a box there and fill it with honey. There's no beekeeper around, and they attracted them by having them come home to their box with the honey out of right field. Oh, what a moment here in spring training.
It's a photo moment, certainly, in the dugouts and the stands. Beekeeper continues to work. A quick reminder, the score update that we gave you coming back out of the break. Bottom of the fourth inning, 3-2. The Angels lead the Royals. Brought to you by Experian. Get your credit swagger on at Experian.com. And another quick reminder, especially on the radio side, be sure to tune into the Rich Eisen Show weekday mornings. Great guests and topics daily. The Rich Eisen Show, 9 to noon on the radio side. Angels Radio, AM 830 KLAA. With the netted hat and the traditional full body covered gear, the long sleeves, the Beekeeper continues to work. In this ball game, by the way, David Freese with an RBI single, C.J. Cron with an RBI as well, a miscue, allowing another run to score for the Angels as they scored all 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning. And Eric Hosmer, 2-run homer in the top of the first inning, is how the Kansas City Royals did their work.
And the best thing was, Darren, to see how Matt Shoemaker, after the home run by Hosmer, even though he did allow a double to Kendrys Morales, settled down. And more importantly, he got his pitches in. He got through 3 innings, got his work in, and he knows, of course, he's a touch and field pitcher. And of course, he was not going to be trying to implement everything today, but he got his work done, and something he can work off of for the rest of the spring.
Beekeeper taking a break down below. There are now a ton of bees that have sacrificed themselves to let this ball game go on, that are down on a concrete wall that's right attached to the net. So the Beekeeper doing some housekeeping there. Now, isn't it interesting, as the Beekeeper now really pounds the microphone? I'm sure you can hear it no matter how you're taking in this game. Beekeeper with the broom getting the bees off the microphone. A whole bunch of people came a long ways to sit and watch unique people do their job, right, in baseball?
Special athletes.
And yet all those people that are doing their jobs are now watching with as much or more respect to one man do his job.
Including the people on our side with the Fox Sports West and the Sourcast, knowing exactly what's going on here.
They're doing a little bit more housekeeping.
Some great beat coverage here.
All right, they're doing housekeeping. It's not nearly as exciting anymore, and so we will take a very quick break. 3-2 is the score. A B cleanup. 3-2. The Angels lead the Royals. Bottom of the fourth in just a moment on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. 3-2, the Angels lead the Royals. Won a 2-night stay, 1 round of golf, and a dinner for 2 as the Beekeeper continues to work here, by the way, at the Fantasy Springs Resort and Casino in Palm Springs. To sign up, send a text with the words AM 830 Fantasy to 50342. The first contestant will be announced Monday, April 6th. To view the official rules on that radio side, visit am830.net. Use the keyword fantasy. The boss returns to his seat. Mike Scioscia in a moment will return to his, and Christian Binford, the tall, lean right-hander, the skipper, back in his familiar seat for the Angels. Ned Yost on the other side for the Royals. And we move along. A couple of short delays. First one 10 minutes. This one about 10 minutes. We actually have people in place to count these things, so we'll give you the update momentarily. Binford to C.J. Cron, and the first pitch, he's swinging at it, rolls it out to third. Cuthbert, Chesler gobbles it up. Chesler, Cuthbert on across, the third baseman on a 5-3 ground out. Cron had a sac fly and an RBI. Back in the first inning, he grounds out now. And as predicted, they count everything in baseball. It's a stats-driven game. 9 minutes and 22 seconds, the B delay. So a total of 19 minutes and 22 seconds.
Oh, keep in mind, you also have a double staff because we got a radio and a TV crew working for you. You're well covered here, D-Sub.
It's the kind of coverage that, I don't know, you feel like you should bring some tip money to work. Make sure everyone gets taken care of. 1-0 the count to Colin Cowgill as he takes a strike at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike the count to Colin. Kentucky native. University of Kentucky. It's kind of a common theme as Alabama represented, Tennessee represented, Kentucky. It's a theme around baseball, though. The 1-1. Into the seats it goes, off to the right side. The Angels lead the Royals 3-2, Cactus League baseball. Albert Pujols and his squad doing some damage back in the bottom of the first inning. Breaking ball, half swing, chopped on a hop, bobbled by Hosmer at first along that first base line. Quick jab to the bag to beat Cowgill there, and he gets him for the second out of the inning.
Well, for Ned Yost, and the well-deserved credit of his staff and how he managed that bullpen at the end. He had 3 guys to choose from. Unbelievable year from Greg Holland, their closer, and of course Kelvin Herrera and Wade Davis, who also were introduced to the world of baseball nationally and all over the world as to how efficient and how much they allow Ned Yost to shorten the games. And all that, of course, the #1 bullpen last year in the American League was not the Kansas City Royals. It was the Seattle Mariners.
Drew Butera takes a breaking ball for strike 1. The right-handed hitter with 2 outs.
Of course, Seattle Mariners, division rivals, one of the most improved ball clubs, and something that everybody knows the Angels will have to contend with this season, along with the A's and the Astros and a much improved Seattle Mariners team.
The 1-1 pitch to Butera fouls it back to the screen. 1-2 the count. I would guess, Jose, that when you look at the Mariners, they had starting pitchers, and we know one of them in King Felix. But that pitch deep, that's what makes your bullpen better. Pitchers that pitch deep.
You have Hernandez, you have Paxton, you have Iwakuma. I mean, you go down the line, and they give you a chance to win every night and to win close ball games.
1-2 pitch, a breaking ball swung on and missed by Butera. 1-2-3. Go the Halos, and 1-2-1000 go the Bees as they disappear. We have put 4 in the books. 3-2 the Angels on top of the Royals on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels top draft pick Sean Nukem gets a chance to see big league action. This call to the bullpen brought to you by your Farmer John. If you're tailgating under the Big A or watching the game at home, pick up Farmer John hot dogs and smoked dinner sausage. Get that authentic stadium taste anytime. Authentic, I should say. Visit farmerjohn.com for recipes that are sure to be a home run. You saw the numbers with Hartford last year. They were very, very good collegially for Sean Nukem. So we get to see him go to work against Raul Mondesi. First pitch, fastball that misses outside. 1-0 the count.
This young man is mighty impressive in size, velocity, how solid his mechanics are, and how smooth of a delivery he has to pump it up in the mid-90s.
6'5", 240, Massachusetts native. Fouled back behind home plate into the seats.
Nukem got his feet wet at the minor league level in professional baseball last year, pitching in 6 games, 14 2/3 innings, 18 strikeouts.
Bolts a fastball over the outside corner. It's an easy delivery. It's called a strike. 1-2 the count. Simple windup, step back, turn to the plate. Breaking ball missed off. 2-2 the count.
He's been one of those guys that pitching coach Mike Butcher, manager Mike Scioscia, just love about how he stays with himself coming into camp as a 21-year-old. He's had a few veterans watching those bullpens.
Hit on the ground out towards short. Bobbled for just a moment by Eric Ibar, but Ibar had so far to go. I don't think he had a chance at retiring Mondesi. As a matter of fact, I'm sure of it.
Mondesi flying down that line. Once Ibar has to take that extra step, threw him off a little bit when he landed. There's a glove. Cannot handle the baseball, and he knew as smartly that once he did not secure it, just hold on to it.
And it's
recovered.
Ruled a base hit. 3-2 the score. The Angels lead the Royals. Top of the 5th inning. Sean Nukem, 21 years old, born in Brockton, Massachusetts. University of Hartford in West Hartford, Connecticut. And he fires a fastball right down the middle. 0-1 the count. Left-handed pitcher, left-handed hitter in Gerard Dyson.
And as you watch Nukem work, just watch how smooth he lands. Stays over the rubber. Quick, pointy right leg. Very consistent.
Fastball is outside. A ball and a strike with the infield in on the corner.
And pops the glove. It's good to see a guy like Jared Weaver, Easton Street, C.J. Wilson asking Mike Butcher, when is Nukem throwing that bullpen? Because they wanted to watch. It's a great picture. Watching the veterans.
David Freese on the grass at third. The 1-1 is swung on and missed. 1-2 the count.
In fact, if you look at the Angels dugout right now, what you're seeing is they just keep an eye on this youngster. I mean, yes, first rounder, very humble kid. There's guys in the clubhouse have told me you don't even know that he's here. But he's got quite a few spectators here in that dugout today.
Nukem comes set at the letters. The runner goes, pitches low. The throw down by Butera on a one-hop. It popped away from Giavitelli, but I don't think it made a difference. A stolen base by Mondesi, who had 52 in his previous 3 minor league seasons.
It's a good job right there. Don't waste any time and show Nate Yields that you can fit into this offense. Great job there by Butera on the release. Quick, but one thing I do like, too, is the fact that Giavitelli stopped it, and Mike Trout was on the run in center field and backing off that throw.
2-2. Fastball swung on and missed. That is strike 3. There's that blazing arm. It was right at the belt, cutting away from Dyson. It's easy, Jose. It comes off of his fingertips. He's not flying at the plate, falling all over the place, overthrowing. It's easy.
Yeah, it takes you understanding your body, and with a big body, you don't see a lot of flying parts, which is also better. Very concise, compact with that delivery.
Christian Colon takes a fastball called high. 1-0 the count to the right-handed hitter.
Of course, Nukem's biggest challenge is to get experience, get the repetitions. Not a bad thing to get knocked around in the minor leagues a little bit, so you can learn how to pitch out of trouble and how to bounce back.
1-0, bouncing ball, foul ball, third baseline, behind the bag at third. Freese picks it and just fires it back to the youngster.
So many times you see a lot of young pitchers, high prospects, cruise through the minor leagues, and their first adversity comes with 40 or 50,000 people in the stands, and it's like they hit a wall. Never had in the minor leagues. How do I get out of this? And for a lot of them, they never overcome that.
Breaking ball misses high. 2-1 the count.
I'll never forget Pedro Martinez, now a Hall of Famer, told me one time after a rough outing with Boston, he goes, "It is good that I get knocked around sometimes." I'm like, what? He goes, "No, I don't want to lose games. But, you know, when guys are hitting me a little bit harder, I have to work a little bit harder. And it teaches me that it's still a game that I got to get better at."
The 2-1 popped up a mile high behind the mound. Giovatello called off by Ibar, the veteran shortstop. 2 steps onto the grass. He makes the play for the out. So 2 outs in the inning. Colon gives way to Lorenzo Cain. In the same vein, Jose, I think it's also important in a setting like this to, you know, have a guy move his way into scoring position. And for Mike Scioscia and Mike Butcher to be able to see how does he handle that.
Things like right now it's going to be a sequence of signs. It's going to be about, is he going to try to throw it through a brick wall now? Is he going to stay with it? Is he going to mix a little bit better? Is he going to slow the game down? All those things come into play just because this guy is now at second base.
Runner is at second. Lorenzo Cain, a fastball darts over the outside corner for strike 1. 0-1 the count.
Very good location. Did not try to overthrow it.
On to see the runner at second. Angels lead the Royals 3-2. Top of the 5th. Breaking ball swung on and missed. Down to a knee he goes. In a cloud of dust. The reason why, that was a heck of a breaking ball.
You talk about a wraparound breaking ball to your back foot. Wow.
0-2 the count.
To the point where Butera was positioned in one way and had to still turn his glove over more to his left side.
Well, this is fun to watch with the runner on second. The young man on 0-2. Same pitch, missed low. More of a side-to-side break to that one. 1-2 the count.
Mike Scioscia made it very clear that Sean Newcomb's biggest body of work will not come with the big league club here in the spring.
The 1-2 pitch from the southpaw. Late on a fastball, fouls it off the Angels executive offices up here above the first base side.
In other words, Darren, he's not going to be exposed too much to big league game and scouting here in the spring. Would I be surprised if he continues to progress so we see him with a big league uniform this season? I would not be surprised if he continues to progress and the Angels have a need for somebody like him.
The 1-2 pitch. Roller. High, back to the mound. Easy play for Nukem. Up above his cap, he makes the play, and he fires in time for the out. Well, let's make this clear, folks. His initial statement against Major League action was heard loud and clear. Excellent composure, great stuff, pitching like a top prospect right out of the gates. The Angels lead the Royals 3-2. Fun to watch Sean Newcomb to the bottom of the 5th we go on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. 3-2, the Angels lead the Royals. Bottom half of inning number 5. Fun to watch Sean Nukem pitch. Peaceful in his approach, and certainly as he gives way to his Angels bats getting ready to swing the bat. A memorable outing for the Angels top draft pick a season ago, the tall left-hander.
You know, one thing, Darren, is also gets to the point where you don't want to start feeding way too much information. It's about pitching and putting the ball in good locations, and that's it. Keep it simple for that kid right now.
Miguel Almonte will try to do the same. The right-hander, part of a pitching chain sponsored by Irvine Auto Center. March Madness time. Big markdown. Stopped at the Irvine Auto Center. Visit them where the 5 meets the 405. Visit IrvineAutoCenter.com. His first pitch is outside. 1-0 the count to Johnny Giavotella. Miguel Emilio Almonte, 21 years old, out of Santiago in the Dominican Republic.
Keep your eyes on this arm.
That arm fires it low and outside. 2-0 the count.
101 strikeouts, only 32 walks in 110 innings in the third last season in A-ball. 22 starts.
He works from the windup. Fastball darts over the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike at the count. Sunshiny day. Temperatures in the 80s now here in Tempe, Arizona. Tempe Diablo Stadium. Spring training home of the Angels. Fastball popped up. Right side. Shallow right field. It's the first baseman, Eric Hosmer, who's got a beat right next to the foul line, and he makes the play for the initial out of this inning. So Giavotella, a ground out, and now a pop out to first.
Almonte, 6'2", 210 pounds, as you mentioned, out of Santiago in the Dominican Republic. And he's a participant in the 2013 Sirius XM All-Star Futures game for the World team. And they're very happy to see the way he has progressed, Darren. As you know, it's one step at a time in certain organizations. Take a little bit more time before exposing pitchers, especially to different levels. And the Royals doing what they think is the right thing with a guy like Almonte.
First pitch misses low to Cole Calhoun. 1-0 the count, 1 out, with the Angels leading the Royals 3-2.
And what they like a lot about Almonte is the ability he has to throw strikes even with a power arm for a kid that when they grade him against others, age, level, experience, has very good control.
Missed with that one. 2-0 the count. Peers over that glove. Black glove from a windup, and it's rolled foul from the left-handed batter's box. Cole Calhoun, 2-1 the count. Calhoun takes a step out of the box.
Cole Calhoun says every game here in Tempe Diablo, for him, it's a home game. The Rojo out of Buckeye, Arizona.
Arizona State University, gritty, gutty ball player, the 2-1. This is outside, 3-1 the count. We took a peek out in that bullpen just a moment ago. Adam Wilk is warming out in the pen. So we will see the tall, lanky left-hander here in a bit. Meantime, Calhoun on 3-1. Rolls it out to Hosmer on one hop. Plays it up at his cap bill. He'll sprint to the bag. The first baseman beats Calhoun there by 2 steps. And a couple of quick outs. As a matter of fact, that's 6 in a row sat down by Royals pitching.
Luxury having somebody like Eric Hosmer patrolling and controlling that area around first base. Pitchers love the fact that he goes out there, and most times he's thinking, I'm going to get to the bag. If not, just make sure you're there. Or you know, sometimes a lot of first basemen make up their minds, I'm going to flip it no matter what. Hosmer's the other way around.
2 outs, it's Mike Trout time. Handed reigning MVP, takes a fastball outside. 1-0 the count to Mike. He singled and scored in the first inning. It was a base hit to the right side. He struck out on a sharp curveball in the third inning. Still just 23 years old, and Trout drives it high and deep to left field. Goodbye, Mike Trout. Up and over the berm and left. The moment it left the bat, we knew it. His first round tripper of the spring.
And all spring, just watching him and how well he's seen the ball. I'm not surprised that he has been able to charge a couple of them here today, but it's always a good feeling when you see this type of contact, and the sound of the bat from certain players tells you exactly how far that ball was traveling.
Angels lead it 4-2 now. Albert Pujols, fastball. 0-1 the count.
The MVP says hello and goodbye to that baseball.
The ball's in 1 strike, the count to Pujols. A curveball into the dirt. 1-1 the count.
So we have a kid like Almonte now say, I have to make these next pitches even better. And you can see it now trying to overthrow against Pujols.
It was into the gap. And it was a no-doubter. He made a heck of a pitch, and Pujols swings right through an off-speed pitch. 1-2 the count.
It was a beauty of a breaking ball. Missed with one, overthrew it, came back a little softer, got him fooled.
1-2 the count to Pujols. Pujols on the ground towards second. Colon bobbles it again. He's having a tough day. He throws wide. Everybody's safe out there. That's 3 clear miscues on a forgettable day for the young man. Albert Pujols. We saw Mike Trout packing his bats a moment ago, but Colon a tough one.
Yes, Colon having a tough time today. There's no doubt about it. Can't hide it. There's some days when the ball's going to find you, and a day when you don't want the ball to find you.
To finish my thought, Darby Myers is pinch running for Albert Pujols at first. Pujols handshakes in that dugout. We peeked into that dugout a moment ago, and Mike Trout was packing his bats as well. I mean, that's the way you crush it onto a walkway somewhere, into a hotel parking lot. That's the way you pack your bats.
And then take it on in.
That's the way you pack it up. It is an error on the second baseman. Fouled at home plate. Got a piece of Salvador Perez.
I recall the days when you didn't pack it in. You put on your running shoes, and then you went out to the track, and you ran along the warning track. You see more pitchers doing that nowadays in an exhibition game, but it used to be part of the conditioning and spring training for regular players, position players. Get your running shoes on and go get it done in the outfield.
Darby Myers on the move. The throw down up pretty when the tag is there. Salvador Perez. It's popped down by Colon. Myers is gunned down, so we'll see by possibly David Freese again. But we did see Mike Trout, his first long ball of the spring. And the Angels are on top of the Royals through 5 by a score of 4-2 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. Trout did it on Fox Sports West. the score. Autographs being signed as we take a look down that right field line by Angels All-Stars and MVPs. And floodgates open for some of the youngsters to make their way into the ball game. As they get involved in play, we'll introduce you to them because it's wholesale changes. But for now, the entire crowd focused on Mike Trout saying goodbye. We say hello to Adam Wilk, the left-hander for the Angels.
Wilk out of Long Beach State, also a local kid out of Cypress, California. Born in Anaheim, went to Cypress High School.
So Adam from the third base side works from the windup, and his fastball is low to Eric Hosmer. 1-0 the count. 4-2 the score. The Angels on top of the Royals. Top of the sixth inning. Hosmer with a homer. Trout with a homer. This time Hosmer with a high pop-up. Sherman Johnson at third base is called off by Grant Green, the shortstop. And Green makes the play in shallow left field back of his position. We told you we'd introduce you as the guys came into the play. Basically all the gentlemen defensively that were working moments ago are headed to the shallows. We wanted to make sure that we told you Adam Wilk was out there on the bump. Jet Bandy is his new battery mate working behind home plate. Number 98 on that Angels red jersey. Wilk fires it home. Switch hitter. And Angels friend Kendrys Morales. And a huge shift to pull.
Green. Nolan Morales loves to roll over with that top hand from the right side.
Instead, he rolls it over to the right side. Scampering to his left, Alex Yarbrough is there, and he makes the play, the second baseman. He came on, Giovitella. Again, we promised you we'd introduce you to them as they pitched in.
Yarbrough, Angels prospect, taking the opportunity, getting his feet wet here. It's almost like, let's see what the second wave brings.
That's exactly right. It's like a line change in hockey.
Yeah, we saw yesterday the Angels with a very solid first 6 innings, and then it all went south, which is very typical spring training. You look at spring training wins, losses, and you figure, okay, when was the game won or when was the game lost? Early or late? Just part of the natural occurrences here in camp.
Alex Rios on a 1-0 count hits a high fly ball to right field. Alfredo Marte is there, and he makes the play for the out. See, we managed to introduce you to a bunch of them, and the good news is that Adam Wilk, the Southern Californian out of Cal State Long Beach, did a solid outing of work. His Angels lead it over the Royals 4-2 through 5.5. This is the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. 4-2 is our score, and on a beautiful Tempe, Arizona day, whether you're watching on Fox Sports West or listening on the Angels Baseball Radio Network, Jose Mota, Darren Sutton, glad to have you with us. Almonte goes back to work with a bunch of new defenders behind him, and that one is hit hard into center field. It's a base hit by Grant Green, the right-handed hitter. Green getting the call, coming on defensively an inning ago. So Green part of that discussion for the battle for third base. A quick reminder, this is Angels Baseball Radio Network, Fox Sports West. Let's pause for station identification.
Well, that battle for second base, it's going to be one that I think is going to go down to the end.
Ryan Wheeler, left-handed hitter, takes a pitch inside from Almonte.
And it might be decided just on who becomes your best option, Darren, as a backup. Because these guys are all versatile enough that may actually end up hurting themselves for the everyday job, knowing that they can play other positions. But between Rutledge, Green, Yevatello, Featherston, trying to get those everyday at-bats.
Angels lead the Royals 4-2, bottom of the 6th inning. Rockies, Diamondbacks for Wheeler. Pretty good raw power from the left side of the plate. Fooled by an off-speed pitch, broke his bat. Slow roller out to second. The only play is to fire to short and to get Ryan Jackson, who made the play for the out. And so they get the lead runner there.
Good job on the new second baseman.
I believe it's Gabriel Noriega, the new second baseman.
Noriega, man, showing the quick spin move there.
Fired it on over to Ryan Jackson. And a bunch of changes. So one away, 4-2. The Angels lead the Royals. Runner at first now is Ryan Wheeler. And hit on the ground to the right side. Another chance to take a look at Noriega. We go 4-6, and certainly not enough time heading up that line to get Josh Rutledge.
Very busy second base spot. A lot of balls hit that way. A lot of problems today for Christian Colon, and Noriega showing a very solid glove and some pretty crafty footwork out there.
Rutledge part of that second base discussion. Reaches on a fielder's choice. And now Alex Yarbrough. Double-A a season ago, 77 runs batted in 136 games. He's a left-handed batter. And it's strike one over the outside corner. Both teams have 6 hits. The Royals with a couple of miscues. All of them coming out of that second base position. Light wind blows to center field as the flag flies into the dirt, and a nice job by Salvador Perez, Gold Glover, blocking it up.
Yarbrough out of Allen, Texas. You mentioned Salvador Perez, man. He makes it look way too easy, man.
For a big boy. I mean, he's a big cat, though.
He absorbs the baseball.
Not low to the ground, Jose. He's not a little guy doing that work.
Tremendous athlete. Thick body. Doesn't matter.
The 1-1 pitch. Hit hard. Toward short. Ryan Jackson on a backhand with a long throw on across the diamond. Gets Yarbrough to end the inning. A couple of base runners erased in this inning. We have put 6 innings of solid baseball in the books. Certainly if you're an Angels fan, as they lead the Royals by a score of 4-2 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and also Fox Sports West. Don't forget the Angels annual 5K and fun run presented by St. Joseph Hoag Health will take place on Saturday, April 11th. Participants will run a course through Angels Stadium, receive a great looking t-shirt, a 15 5K medal, as well as a voucher to watch the Halos play that evening. For more info to sign up, visit angels.com/5K. Proceeds, as always, benefit the Angels Baseball Foundation. So you can enjoy your hot dog and then burn it off with a big-time run. Alex Sanabia, the right-hander, goes to work.
That's how we justify it, right?
That's exactly right.
Why not?
So we will get to know Sanabia. We will also remind you that this top of the 7th is brought to you by Roto-Rooter. Leaky pipes, clogged and backup drains, bad water heater, Roto-Rooter, 1-800-GET-ROTO. And away go troubles down the drain. Sanabia, last year in AAA, 7 wins. An ERA of 4.70. Alex Sanabia. And he tries to make a statement here this spring.
All you want to do is get yourself a little bit higher on that depth chart.
Good sink on the fastball. It's swung on and missed.
You give yourself a better chance by throwing strikes. Not getting rattled. Not trying to impress. Just doing your job and keeping the ball down with some command.
Sanabia to Salvador Perez, hit hard out toward third. Sherman Johnson with a backhanded play by the bag. Long throw, and he got it.
That was an outstanding play by the young third baseman. Fearless. Look at him get settled and then fires away. Love the confidence brought in by these new players and young players. Sherman Johnson out of Tampa, Florida. Inland Empire last year, 17 home runs and 78 RBIs.
Orlando Calixte now for the Royals. Sanabia, breaking ball, dives low, 1-0 the count. Sanabia from Chula Vista, California, down in the San Diego area. Fastball in, rolled foul, third base line, down toward that Royals bullpen.
It's a place for some good fish tacos. I know you've experienced that.
Yes. Very good place for all kinds of good food down in that neck of the woods. Sanabia, 1-1, high and inside, has him back out of there. 2-1 the count, with the Angels leading the Royals 4-2. 7th inning. As a matter of fact, I could use some right about now. Fish tacos.
That works.
Just a double back to finish your thought. The 2-1 from Sanabia. Outside corner, 2-2 the count.
The smell all throughout this ballpark, as you mentioned. The grills, the smoke, the barbecue. It helps a little bit.
It's not quite comfortable, so Sanabia steps off the mound, if only for a moment. Calixte, slightly open stance, swings and fouls that one into the catcher's mitt, and down he goes. It was a very good day, by the way, for a young man in this Western Division. Folks remember Jonathan Singleton. He was 2 for 3 today. He's having a huge spring, hitting nearly 500. And his Astros pounded out 20 hits to beat the Tigers 14-9. That's a quick peek at the out-of-town scores, brought to you by the Dodge Ram 1500 out-of-town scoreboard. Visit ramtrucks.com to learn more about the fuel-efficient Ram 1500. A big day for the Astros. Fastball is inside.
Don't take the Astros for granted. That is a much improved ball club. And for Singleton, also a Southern California product. Good to see him having a good spring and a good start to his spring. But Darren, he was a bit of a mystery last year because he signed a guaranteed major league contract while he was still in the minor leagues. Got called up immediately, and his numbers were better against left-handed pitchers than against right-handed pitchers. Big, long swing, but boy, when he connects, it goes a long ways. But also, we saw a lot of whiffing, a lot of swings and misses from left-handed hitter Singleton last year.
2 balls and 1 strike the count on Ryan Jackson for the Kansas City Royals. With Sanabia from the windup, infield, outfield, straight behind him. Got a cloud in the sky here in Tempe, Arizona. As the 2-1 pitch is high and inside. 3-1 the count.
You were mentioning Singleton going back to his year, 95 games, 310 at bats, 13 home runs, but he only hit 168 there.
(3-1) fouled off into the seats. 3-2 the count. Right side. It screams overswinging to me. That screams not hanging on that baseball, and I'm sure soft stuff away was the way to handle it from the right side of the mound.
We'll see how they get it done here in the 3-2.
4-2, the Angels lead the Royals. Full count, 2 outs. Sanabia into the dirt it goes, and he lost him. Ball 4. Raymond Fuentes, a left-handed batter now. Angels go back to work tomorrow. They head to the west side of town. It feels for some like it's almost to the California border. Beautiful Goodyear as they go to take on the Cincinnati Reds.
Not long ago, you were an open highway once you hit Goodyear here.
That's exactly right. Excited to see Andrew Heaney pitch, the left-hander, tomorrow. Swing and a miss. Fuentes on a pitch down and away. 0-1 the count.
Yeah, good point. Heaney came over for Howie Kendrick in Detroit, and Heaney is the one leading candidate to have a spot in the rotation. So he'll be the 6th starting pitcher we will see from the Angels this spring.
0-1 swung on and missed. A pitch that dove down and away. No balls and 2 strikes to count on Fuentes.
And on that subject, Garrett Richards continues to pass every test thrown at him. The latest, Garrett Richards threw live batting practice, around 30-40 pitches, and he is already participating in pitchers' fielding practices.
Runner goes on 0-2, and he swiped it. Throw down on a hop by Jed Bandy. Good jump and a stolen base by Jackson. That's great news on Richards.
He has been spectacular. I've witnessed a few of his bullpens covering the bases, no issues, and he says there's no mental hurdle here to overcome. He goes, they hit the ball to the right side. I'm not thinking about what happened in Boston back on August 20th. I'm thinking about covering the base and getting the out.
1-2 pitch nubbed foul off the end of the bat on a full swing. To the screen it goes.
And it's now, Darren, at the point Mike Scioscia said was moving on from the rehab area to the baseball area more and more. He says, yeah, the medical staff still will have a lot to do in his progress, but now we're thinking more about the baseball aspect of things and getting him back where he needs to be.
Outfield very, very shallow. The 1-2 pitch sinks outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count. Darby Myers, who has great speed. You peek out there and see how shallow he's playing. You tell yourself, well, I don't think he's going to drive the ball in Fuentes, but you also tell yourself he believes in himself to go back and get that ball.
Dino Evil has challenged Angels outfielders. Play shallow.
The 2-2. We'll do it again as that one's fouled off under the roof of the press box. 2-2 the count.
And going back to Richards, Darren, the point is, in his mind, he is pitching the opening week. He says, that's what I have to prepare myself to do. If they tell me otherwise, so be it. But in his mind, he's getting ready to take the ball first time around that rotation.
Two balls and 2 strikes to count from the stretch. The pitch is a called strike 3 over the inside corner. So Sanabia had a base runner to deal with into scoring position, but he cleaned it up with a backwards K in the book. To the bottom half of the 7th we go. Stand up and stretch him out time wherever you may be, especially on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. 4-2 our score. Good day to turn your head around backwards wherever you may be and enjoy the sunshiny days out west. The Angels lead it 4-2, bottom of the 7th inning. Joe Patterson, new pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, side-wheeling left-hander. Pitched his baseball last year in the Diamondbacks organization in AAA. Has had some successful times in the big leagues as he slides a big sweeping breaking ball in there. 1-1 the count. Jet Bandy, Angels catcher, came on earlier, looks at a pitch high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to count to Jet. 13 long balls. That's what gets your attention last year in AA for Jet Bandy. Patterson just off the plate as he tried to backdoor it. Patterson had to find his way back down, journey through the minor leagues for quite some time, but he was a big part of the Diamondbacks winning the Western Division in 2011. Bandy awaits, fouls it off at home plate. J.C. Boskin, the catcher behind home plate, took the brunt of that foul tip, so we have new battery mates.
J.C. Boscan, what a story he is. At one time, a can't-miss prospect. He was labeled for the Atlanta Braves. This is, Darren, his 19th season in professional baseball at 35 years old.
Great stuff, Jose, as that one is rolled out toward third. Calixte, the third baseman, fires it on a cross. Pretty hands. It's dug out there by Matt Fields at first. So Jet Bandy, the young man out of West Hills, California, and out of the University of Arizona, grounds out on a 5-3 ground out.
So going back to Boscan, that's 19 years of a lot of crouching, man. Let me tell you, and the ups and downs of not having established yourself as a big leaguer and still grinding away. It's admirable.
Sherman Johnson now. He too with big power a season ago. Those 17 home runs in the Cal League. 1-1 the count. Keep that shoulder in there, Sherman. That's your big challenge, lefty on lefty. As Patterson sets at the belt, sweeps that low sidearm breaking ball, and it's swung on and missed. 1-2 the count.
As you mentioned, that shoulder stays in and square. You give yourself a better chance to react quicker with your hands. And of course, more importantly against lefty, to cover the outer half of that breaking ball.
Johnson takes a pitch that misses. 2-2 the count.
Did a very good job taking that pitch, staying square towards center field.
Sherman, a 14th round pick back in 2012, hit 276 last year. Breaking ball missed. Patterson wanted that one.
Don Baylor has talked about how Johnson keeps those hands close to the back shoulder. Very little movement, but a lot of pop coming out of there.
Sherman swings through a breaking ball, and down he goes. Well, as he walks back to the dugout, singing his accolades and certainly bragging about them a bit. One reason he's getting a look at any point is a career minor league on base percentage. He gets a pat on the back from Don Baylor of .386. That's why they're taking a look at you, and he's shown some good defense as well.
Exactly. I mean, shown the ability to go out there and cover some ground. Strong arm. He's put a nice showcase here around some batting practice fields, and they know what they have in him.
0-1 the count on Alfredo Marte. The 0-1 to Alfredo. That breaking ball misses inside. 1-1 the count.
Alfredo yesterday, the game against the Oakland A's, swinging for the fences, and for the fences alone in left field.
The 1-1 to Alfredo. It's a fastball that misses outside. 2-1 the count.
So day-to-day adjustments coming into the organization means show them they can stay square to the ball and hit it hard to the big part of the field.
Fastball outside corner for a strike. 2-2 the count to Marte. 2-2 pitch, broke his bat, rolls it foul. Piece of the bat heads out toward that mound, so he'll get a new piece of lumber. Give me a chance to remind you, we're brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. There's fresh, and then there's In-N-Out. Always the highest quality ingredients. They're made to order. They never compromise it. In and out, that's what a hamburger's all about. Stop in after the game. I know here in Arizona, we know where the one is in Tempe. I know you know where one is. By the way, speaking of folks enjoying an afternoon, maybe a snack, 7,434 of them enjoyed today. 7,434. Packed house at Tempe Diablo Stadium.
A lot of them making that trek back to Southern California on I-10. Very happy with all the many autographs they've got.
2-2 hit on the ground. Patterson gloves it to a knee and a little underhanded flip. And a very solid inning for the southpaw Joe Patterson. But the foes this afternoon for the Royals, the Angels, through 7, lead the Kansas City Royals by a score of 4-2. Glad to have you with us on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Trout and his Angels swimming in the right direction. If you're just joining us, Trout with his first spring home run. 4-2, the Angels on top of the Royals as we move into the 8th inning. Call to the bullpen. Albert Suarez goes to work. Brought to you by Farmer John. If you're tailgating under the Big A or watching the game at home, pick up Farmer John hot dogs and smoked dinner sausage to get that authentic stadium taste anytime. Visit farmerjohn.com for recipes that are sure to be a home run.
Albert Suarez out of San Felix in Venezuela has not had any big league time. He signed back in 2008 with the Rays, and of course, as many have paraded through the operating table, he had Tommy John surgery back in 2009.
So we get to know Suarez. Fastball low, 1-0 the count.
By the way, Darren, there's less compared to last season. Less information coming in on possible or already having done Tommy John surgeries, because it was one after the other last spring.
Gabriel Noriega bouncing ball out toward short. Grant Green behind the bag at second, makes the play into the dirt to throw, but Ryan Wheeler scoops it out very nicely. 6-3 the ground out. Well, a lot of credit goes to awareness being made by everyone willing to talk about it. Speaking of pitchers and their health, and MLB's Pitch Smart program that is really starting to crank up in amateur baseball as well, with development programs like Perfect Game. Pitch Smart is really making a big difference as well that MLB's put together.
That is outstanding, and just creating some awareness on many different fronts from the guys that are training these guys, even at the off season, as you know very well, Darren.
Bubba Starling, a top prospect and a top pick. Lines it foul, home run distance, but it's well fouled on the left field line. 0-1 the count.
There's a lot of happy people to see Bubba Starling in this uniform and in this camp today.
The 0-1 pitch to Bubba's a breaking ball, a good one, but it's called inside. He's still just 22 years old. He was drafted out of high school, young man out of Kansas, 5th overall pick in 2011. The 1-1 to Bubba misses outside, 2-1 the count.
And a multi-sport star himself. Great size, good looking player.
6'4", 180. He looks stronger and bigger than 180 now. The 2-1 pitch. Bubba jammed himself, and it's a high fly ball to shallow center field. Darby Myers comes together, nearly collides with second baseman Alex Yarborough. They hop around one another, and it's Myers that makes the play for the out. And a nice job by both hanging in there. Myers might not have let him know until the last minute.
Sometimes you as a second baseman want to go out there and help a lot, not knowing that your center fielder got a good jump. Your mentality sometimes as a middle infielder is, I got to go out there because I know it's tough to see, just in case. But of course, gets some getting used to when you haven't played next to somebody at second, short, and in center field on a play like that.
2 outs. Here's Matt Fields. So far, so good, by the way, the stuff of Suarez. High knee kick. Fastball, strike one. 0-1 the count. Well, still just 25 years old and a ton of experience, as you were talking about. Actually got invited to Tampa's big league camp back in 2012, and so this is his second shot at big league camp. The 0-1, a breaking ball and a dandy for strike two. 0-2 the count. Big fella, 6'3", 235, Suarez. Working quickly. His defenders like that. Hasn't left that rubber. Nods yes. Back to the windup. The 0-2 swung on and missed. Thank you very much for coming. Albert Suarez to the Royals. He says good morning, good afternoon, and good night. A very clean 8th inning. We move along to the bottom half of inning number 8 at Tempe Diablo Stadium. It's the Angels 4, the Royals 2 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Enjoying this one. We're glad you're enjoying it with us as well. The Angels lead the Royals by a score of 4-2. Bottom half of the 8th inning on a sun-splashed Arizona day. Michael Marriott accepts that call to the bullpen, and the right-hander of South Lake, Texas, goes to work. A brief time with the Royals last year. 25 innings of work. That's his lone major league time. It was his 25-year-old season.
That's a great spot right there. South Lake, Texas.
So the big Texan takes on Charlie Cutler, who's a San Franciscan from Northern California. Charles Caleb Cutler, left-handed hitter, loads up that back leg. Number 97 on his Angels jersey. First pitch in the dirt, 1-0 the count. Big numbers for Cutler last year in Double-A. A little bit more than 100 games, hit .310, 5 home runs, 42 RBIs. More important than that, an on-base of .415. That's right, folks, an on-base of .415 last year.
The Angels have made it a point, even than guys they were drafting there, guys they were trading for, like a Kubica. You mentioned Johnson before. Now we have Cutler. That is a big part of what they're looking for, is they rebuild the farm system.
That's why they signed him as a minor league free agent this winter. They saw those numbers, and that was one of the reasons Jerry DiPoto and his staff, scouting staff, and then once they get him in their hands, development staff. As the pitch misses low, 2-1 the count. Get on base. Offense is changing in the major leagues as the pitch is inside. 3 balls and 1 strike the count, and he's putting a nice patient at bat on him right now.
There's what allows you to get on base a little bit more, see more pitches, and lay out some very tough ones.
Marriott has that one fouled off at home plate. By the way, the top of the 8th inning brought to you by Chronic Tacos Mexican Grill. 3rd generation recipes packed with your favorite fresh ingredients. Chronic Tacos, for a location right near you. Go to eatchronictacos.com and live the taco life. Angels lead the Royals 4-2. Nobody out, bottom half of inning number 8. Big deep knee bend as he awaits, and he takes outside, ball 4 on a pitch that he thought about swinging at. And if ever a batter backed up his stats in a single at bat, it was that young man.
Right there. Pitches per plate appearance is high. You see pitches that perhaps the guy on the mound thinks, I'm going to get him to roll over this when it's close enough, and you lay off of. You give yourself a chance to find first base.
Taylor Featherston, Rule 5 selection from the Rockies organization. Taylor part of that second base battle, and most importantly, because if he doesn't earn a spot on the roster, he'll be offered back. And Featherston, with a great attitude in talking with him yesterday, he is running at first base.
Also very good lead, like that.
Darby Myers is the batter.
Coming to a game, you're watching close enough as a young player in that dugout as to how far guys are getting out. Maybe you know something about the pitcher. Maybe somebody played against him and they tell you, hey, get out there and get far. He does not have a very good move. And wrestling is to see young players go out there and implement it immediately.
Myers, right-handed batter, back of the batter's box. Slightly open stance. A pitch out. That lead got that much attention from the Kansas City Royals as they pitched out 1-0 the count.
That's a great point. Sometimes the lead itself will get also your hitter something better to hit during the at-bat. But if you're tipping that you're not going to run, guess what? It's all about pitching to the guy and getting him out.
Well, if you're Taylor Featherston, and obviously you'll get starts because you're a Rule 5 pick. Played at TCU, but you want to grab the attention of your staff, your manager, your coaches. Be called upon to do something simple, if you will, like pinch run, and do it this aggressively. 1-0 pitch, Featherston off first, swung on and missed. 1-1 the count. 4-2, the Angels lead the Royals, bottom of the 8th inning.
Featherston in his minor league career, 397 games, 49 stolen bases. He's been thrown out 15 times.
He's been a shortstop his whole life. College, most of his time in the minor leagues. As that one is a souvenir, fouled off. 1-2 the count. Chatting with him yesterday at length. Certainly is thrilled for this opportunity. He's across an open walkway from Albert Pujols. Not too far from him is Mike Trout. He said, I'm a firm believer in trusting my abilities. If I try to not be who I am in this camp for them to keep me, they won't keep me. I have to trust my abilities. And he said, Albert's already told me that. The 1-2. Just off the plate, 2-2 the count.
Yeah, you and I had a lengthy conversation about that. The guys that usually stick around when that shot is there are the guys that don't try to get out of who they are and what got it here. Matt Shoemaker didn't try to become super Matt Shoemaker last year. He said, if I pitch my game and do my stuff, I shall have success at any level.
Darby Myers drives it to left field. Tracking it is Fuentes, the left fielder. Featherston, we've been speaking about him, the pinch runner, trots back to the bag, 1 away. So Myers hits it hard, but he is erased. And now Grant Green, who's competing with the man at first, Taylor Featherston. Part of that second base battle in one of these 2 roster spots. Really, it's 4 guys for 2 roster spots. You hope that one of the 4 earns the starting second baseman job, but essentially 4 guys for 2 roster spots.
That's the way it is right now. Now, keep in mind, moves and trades and acquisitions do happen also during spring training.
Featherston on the move, throw down in time. J.C. Boscan, the veteran, you were speaking of him, the long-serving baseball catcher. The throw was high, but a nice job going up the ladder, popping the tag down on Featherston, who's erased.
35 years old, 19 years behind the plate. And shows a nice quick release and give a lot of credit to the second baseman, Oriega, with a very nice tag.
One 1-0 the count to Green. He takes a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike the count. I'd be curious to chat with Featherston, and maybe this is not the case. And if you're listening on radio, we just showed a replay, and almost the entire time trying to steal that base, he looked into the batter's box. As the pitch is low, 2-1 the count.
For a straight steal, that is a no-no. For a hit and run, yes.
So I'm wondering if maybe there was a hit and run. Maybe, just maybe. One of the 2 might have missed a sign.
That's very correct.
Featherston or Green. The 2-1. Swing and a miss. 2-2 the count. 2 outs, 4-2. The Angels lead the Royals. Bottom half of inning number 8. Marriott, the right-hander, comes home with it, and it's strike 3 over the outside corner, so down he goes. 3 outs for the Angels, and they are winners over the Royals in Cactus League action, 4-2. They lead Kansas City. To the top of the 9th we go on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. To score. A day to see Mike Trout enjoy his first spring home run. To the top of the 9th inning we go. Darren Sutton, Jose Mota, glad to have you with us. Darren in for Terry Smith. I'm glad to be sitting in his chair, but he'll be back tomorrow and in full health. Fans sure to be tuned in to the Rich Eisen Show weekday mornings as we see Jeremy McBride go to work, the big right-hander. The Eisen Show with great guests and topics on the radio side at Angels Radio AM 830 KLAA. McBride out of Oklahoma City. And his first pitch is a fastball. This is low and away. 1-0 the count to Kendrys Morales. Double, fly to center field, and grounded out to second. Morales takes a strike to even things up. The former Angel, why not? When you're the DH, why not? When you make the trip, get 4 at-bats. For a man who, in free agency, lost spring training last year. Kendrys takes strike 2, 1-2 the count. And about 20 total minutes in B delays in this one. B swarming the ballpark. Heading down by the Angels dugout. The 2-1 count. Morales swings right over the top of a good 2-1 changeup from Jeremy McBride. Yeah, Beekeeper came and visited and cleaned things up and did a fabulous job. If you're just joining us, we're told it's Will Godwin is his name. Citywide Pest Control did a good job. Morales, meantime, pulls his hands in. It's a fly ball into right field on a pitch that was high and inside, and it dumps in front of the right fielder Marte for a base hit. So Kendrys Morales, that's why you take that final at bat, and you take all 4. Now he's done, and he trots off. Terrence Moore will pinch run. We saw him a lot last year. Terrence Gore, I should say. My apologies to Mr. Gore. Alabama native. Terrence Gore, the speedster. Some big runs scored late in the season. Angel fans, not always good memories. Moises Sierra now hits. And he takes a pitch inside. 1-0 the count. Angels 4, Royals 2. Top half of the 9th inning. Infield in a couple of steps. They'll have to hurry to turn 2. Sierra runs pretty well. Gore flies. Outfield straight up. Outside, rushed home with that one. 2-0 the count. With the defense set, the speed making the statement with that last pitch. That's what speed will do. The big right-hander McBride clearly rushing his body home, concerned with what was standing at first base, and because of that the arm was slow to get there, and he missed. So he'll try it again on 1-1. Jeremy fires it home. It's rolled out toward third. Johnson gets one on to first. Not in time. They got Gore out front. A great play by Sherman Johnson. When Yarborough went to turn it, he fired it to first. And with good speed we talked about with Sierra, he legged it out, so not able to turn 2 for the first out of the inning. We've seen good stuff by Johnson, and the feed was right on top of the bag. Very, very close. Nearly a double play. Wheeler took the stretch there. Reaching on the fielder's choice. Sierra is there. And now J.C. Boscan. A long-time minor league backstop. Fooled badly. Hits it off the end of the bat toward the screen behind home plate. 0-1 the count.
Right here, come on, back, please. Right here, come on, please.
Kind of a Crash Davis, if you will, when you talk about J.C. Boscan. When you're in your mid-30s and you're playing in Double-A in the Southern League in a place like Chattanooga like he did last year, that means you're riding buses every trip. There are no plane flights in that league. Certainly kind of a Crash Davis. 0-1 the count. 4-2, the Angels lead the Royals. Top of the 9th. McBride fools him again. Off the end of the bat, foul ball scattering Angels coaches that time. Alfredo Griffin, when he was younger, was sure-handed. He's laughing down there. Coaching staff joining him, giggling there. Leave me alone. He's getting the business, by the way, from that Royals coaching staff across the way. No balls and 2 strikes to count on Boscan. Big Jeremy McBride fires it. It's outside. 1-2 the count. McBride last year pitching in the A's organization. 51 appearances, pitched pretty effectively. Had 17 saves, a 2.22 ERA. And 9 strikeouts per 9 innings of work. Had a good year. The 1-2. To the right side, it's down for a base hit, a screaming line drive, and a really ineffective 1-2 pitch, and that's what McBride will be telling you. I had my chances. I had him fooled badly, and the cagey veteran Boscan sees a pinch runner come out and give him a high five. So Boscan is done. Lane Adams. Lane Adams is the pinch runner. Orlando Calixte now will hit. We were telling you earlier about Jonathan Singleton with a big day and a big spring so far for the Astros. They had 19 hits in beating the Detroit Tigers. There's another side to that story. First, the right-hander fires it home. It's driven to right field. Well struck. Marte going back. It's over his head, and it's up against the wall. They'll send one Royal on around right behind Adams. He heads towards home plate. The relay to the plate with the slide. He's safe. And the Kansas City Royals do what the Oakland Athletics did yesterday. That's rally late against the Angels in their bullpen. They've tied it at 4. Calixte crushing the ball to right field. A belt-high fastball right down the middle. He didn't try to pull it. Marte was playing very, very shallow, but still, you've got to think that that ball would sail on its own all the way to the wall. You've got to think that anyway. Timely hitting by the Kansas City Royals, who, it bears mentioning, are 4-0 this spring. Infield in for the Angels. Calixte at third with the triple. He went all the way to third with that triple. And now Jackson, Ryan Jackson with the bat in his hands. Rolls it past the drawn end infield for a base hit. In comes Calixte. Jackson puts the Royals on top by a score of 5-4. The 10th hit of the contest for the Kansas City Royals. Again, a pitch that was splitting the plate from McBride. The infield drawn in. Nothing Grant Green could do. The shortstop. So Mike Scioscia and squad. And his staff look on now. We'll get a chance this time, instead of being walked off, to bat in the bottom of the 9th inning. We'll see how they fare. And it's a chance for Raymond Fuentes now with 1 away. Jeremy McBride throws that one into the dirt. Yeah, the Astros had a split squad game to finish that thought from a moment ago. And all those hits they had in one, there were no hit by the Braves in the other. A game that ended in a 2-2 tie. 19 hits in one. No hits in the other. The Braves did the deed. So the Astros split the squad and had very, very different report cards that they brought home to mom and dad when it was all over. The 1-0 pitch. Fuentes with a fly ball, shallow left. A long run for Daniel Robertson. Diving play! Robertson leaving his feet, streaking toward the foul line. An outstanding play by Robertson. Daniel, who had a good day yesterday, just came into this ball game, and boy, he got loose right away. Number 44 in the back of his jersey. We remember a very famous 44, the Warren Angels uniform that did some big things, making that number proud. I guess they'll call you Mr. March if you make a play like that. And a nice one by Daniel Robertson. 2 outs with the Royals leading the Angels 5-4. Swing and a miss over the top of that one by Noriega. By the way, the quick mention of the Astros and what they did today. Part of that Dodge Out of Town scoreboard brought to you by the 2015 Jeep Cherokee. Advanced technology, safety, and capability for every road. Jeep.com. That is where you'll find more information. Pitch out. And nothing doing there for the Kansas City Royals with Ryan Jackson at first base. Jet Bandy, the catcher behind the plate for the Angels. Royals fans with a subdued but certainly audible cheer down below. As Jeremy McBride fires the 1-1, but he misses. In 2-1 the count. It's the Angels, it's the Reds tomorrow, and it's Andrew Heaney getting a chance to see the man who was a Dodger for about 15 minutes in that Howie Kendrick trade. Had a chance to watch Heaney throw in the pen the other day. Left-handed pitcher, and a quick pickoff throw. Jackson back in time. Be exciting to see and listen to, if you will, and I would imagine Terry Smith will be back behind the microphone tomorrow. The exploits of Andrew Heaney as he tries to make a strong statement. The 2-1 pitch. Jackson goes this time. It swung on and missed. The throw down. Skitters into center field as it gets by Yarbrough, who is trying to pop down the tag. Bandy, the catcher, fired a one-hopper out there to second base. Didn't get far enough away, though, for Jackson to advance. He got a really good jump. Did not take a single look in when he took off, and that was one of those, no doubt about it, straight stolen bases. I even think a perfect throw doesn't get him there. So Jackson in scoring position. The Royals have scored 3 in the top of the 9th inning to grab the lead on top of the Angels, 5-4. The 2-2. Hard hit ball off the glove of the shortstop Grant Green into left field. Robertson is up with it. They'll send the runner to the plate. The runner safe standing up. All the way into second goes Noriega, and the Royals get another run, and they lead it 6-4. Green left his feet, made a diving attempt at that baseball. Nearly got there, but in kicking it away and changing the angle of it, allowed it to ensure that there was no doubt about it. They were going to make sure that Jackson would try to score. It's the right play by Green, but by slowing it down, it made the opportunity that much greater. Mike Scioscia makes the walk out to the mound, and he will make the call to the bullpen. We will reset the situation. But simply put in a few words, it's been all Royals here in the top half of the 9th inning. They've played it 4, and they lead it 6-4. The Angels with a new hurler will step aside momentarily on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels 6-4, plating 4 in the 9th inning. Trevor Gott gets the call, tries to close things out. He worked 52 times last year, saved 18 contests, and did so. The Angels organization and in the Padres organization. Full stops at Double-A, so Trevor with a breaking ball announces his presence with strike 1. Right down the middle to Bubba Starling, former #1 overall pick. Got out of the University of Kentucky. First time in big league camp for the right-hander, who fires it outside. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. Trevor started his career as the Padres 6th-round draft pick back in 2013. Got a chance to see him a lot this fall in the Arizona Fall League. He's in that Rising Stars game, which is the Fall League's all-star game, if you will, here locally in Mesa. Pitch missed outside. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. Dominated in college, dominated at the Cape Cod League, baseball's best summer league at the amateur level. So here he is. The 2-1 to Starling. He jammed him. It's a fly ball to center field. Darby Myers fights the sun, then finds it and puts it away for the out. But it was a big inning for the team wearing blue, not red. The Kansas City Royals played 4. They lead it by a score of 6-4. To the bottom half of the 9th inning we go. The Angels. Let's see if there's some magic on the other side on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. One 1-0 the count. We go right back to work in the bottom of the 9th inning. Make that 1-1 as the right-hander Johan Pino was ready and raring to go, and he didn't wait around. The right-hander who made 11 starts last year with an ERA of 5.07. And did so in the big leagues. Johan did. And the Minnesota Twins organization deals the 1-1 pitch. Wheeler. Ryan Wheeler fouls it back to the screen. 1-1 the count. Wheeler reaching on a fielder's choice. Ryan out of Loyola Marymount, a Diamondbacks 5th-round pick back in 2009. Talented corner infield, can play first or third. Left-handed batter. Swings and he misses at a 2-strike fastball. Down he goes. Good ride and life as it ran away from him. Let's pause for station identification as we take one more look up here. This is the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Jose Mota's down in the field. I'm Darren Sutton. Jumped the gun a little bit there on you. Back at the mothership. My apologies. 0-1 the count. It's strike one to Josh Rutledge. Part of that second base discussion. Like Wheeler, he was a Rocky. He looks at a breaking ball, and like Wheeler, he's dealing with some really good stuff from Johan Pino. Rutledge reaching on a fielder's choice in his lone at bat. The 0-2. Josh takes a fastball that's high. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. 6-4. The Royals lead it. Bottom of the 9th inning. Kansas City rocking things quite a bit with 4 in the top of the 9th. Pino from the windup. Number 63 in the back of that jersey. Swung on and missed at a fastball. Back-to-back strikeouts from the hard-throwing right-hander. So Rutledge goes down, and it literally was bell-tied down the middle, just with a little bit of late run to it. Started, as we mentioned, batting tee spot, but then it's that run that made it tough to deal with. Lively fastball. Here's Alex Yarbrough. Yarbrough looks at a changeup for strike one. Angels' 4th round pick in 2012 out of Ole Miss. The 0-1 to Alex. Fastball in. 1-1 the count. So Ned Yost and his bunch, and a better Mike Scioscia and his crew on this day. The 1-1 pitch. Change up, 2 good ones, and he swings and he misses. 1-2 the count. So he's gone change up, fastball, change up, and he's got Yarbrough in a big bind. The right-hander winds and deals the 1-2 pitch, and it's a high fly ball to left field. Fuentes is there, and he puts it away, and the Kansas City Royals win it. It's a 5-0 spring to start things for the Kansas City Royals, manager Ned Yost. But boy, so many good things when we take a look back on this Angels and this contest for the men in red. A lot of positive things certainly to talk about. Mike Trout with a very good day, his first spring home run. He also had a single to boot and scored on Albert Pujols with a great piece of hitting as well. So Mike Scioscia certainly can smile with all that went on. Matt Shoemaker was outstanding. Houston Street will tell you there were some hard hit balls, and that certainly frustrated with me. And I'll be ready to go the next time. You know who is ready to go? Jose Mota down in the diamond with manager Mike Scioscia.
Thank you, Darren. Mike, when you look at Matt Shoemaker, and even though it was his first outing, you say he's a touch and feel kind of guy. What did you see from him?
Well, I think, Matt definitely got a chance to get his fastball to the corners today. Had it down in the zone, which was good. Actually threw a couple good sliders, too. A couple good off-speed pitches. So, great first outing for him. I like the way when he had to make a pitch with his fastball, he got it into a good zone.
Sean Nukem makes his debut. What is the plan with his youngster? What did you like about his composure, the presence on the mound, and what he brought from the backfields in his bullpens to the mound today?
Well, you saw it. He's got just that explosive fastball with a big curveball. Yeah, he has a chance to really be something special. There's a little bit of progression he's going to have to go through as far as the innings he'll get, getting the pitch counts up, getting used to pro ball. But if he throws a ball like that, there's no doubt he's in our plans.
Offensively, how do you feel how guys are progressing with more repetitions of that bat, especially the way Trout hit the ball, Pujols, and David Freese today? Yeah,
I think those guys, they got a couple of at-bats under their belts, and they're starting to do some of the things that we know they can do. Those guys are going to be important to us in the middle of the lineup, and the peripheral guys are going to be really critical to us. And we'll get Cole Calhoun going. We have a lot of confidence in what he's going to do. Get Matt Joyce in there to start swinging, and then get the bottom of the lineup to set the table as we turn it around.
What was your message to the team with the bees around?
Oh, we didn't know what was going on, but we saw everybody running off the field. We could see it was something, and they just made it home right up here on that microphone, and we got him out of there.
Mike, thank you very much.
All right, Jose, thanks.
Darren Sutton, is always a pleasure. Nice job once again, my friend. It's back to you.
Great to work with you, Jose. Friends since birth. Once again, the final score, Tempe Diablo Stadium, the Royals 6, the Angels 4 for those of you watching on television. Jose, along with Patrick O'Neill, glad to have him here. We'll have a lot more post-game analysis, and on radio, we'll have more from Tempe. This is the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.